Hey, welcome in everybody to Hump Day Chat. As you guys get plugged in here, we'll follow your comments, take your comments, and see what's happening. Hope you're all doing well here midweek. It's been a weird week to still be a Packers fan and continue to be a Packers fan because that's all we get is weird stuff all the time now. Yeah. I think we're all getting sick of this situation. I know I am. I know lots of people are. Um, but you can blame your top of the cheesehead for that mostly, right? The guy just keeps putting his mouth places he shouldn't, saying stuff he shouldn't. And I don't know. What's the plan? What's the plan? That's my question. What is Mark Murphy's plan here? We've been wondering what the plan has been for the Packers for quite some time, the last few years. Are they trying to win now? Are they trying to build towards the future? Are they trying to do both? Are they starting to do one and then changing course and doing the other one with the football operations, right? But what is so we didn't know the football plan, but what is Mark Murphy's plan? Hmm. Hmm. I know it's kind of old news by now, but I do want to reference his comment because so many of these other big shows that talked about it did not reference his whole comment. The whole comment, I think, is even more ridiculous than just the complicated fella part. Like that's bad. Yeah, no doubt. That's bad and stupid. And why would you say it? Especially in that way, in that format. But the whole comment just makes you wonder. Mark Murphy, is he really that smart of a guy? I think a lot of us question, is he that smart of a guy? And then you'll have other people talk about him and say, well, he's the CEO of a billion-dollar corporation. He's got it. You don't get to those levels without being a really smart guy, a really smart person, not guy, but person, right? And you would think that's correct. Unless you had it handed to you from your family, like others who've gotten to those areas in their corporations, and admittedly are clearly are not that intelligent. But Mark Murphy, is he an intelligent guy or not? And what is his plan? What is his purpose for the Green Bay Packers? What is he? And Nick posed that question to me when I was kind of griping in a text with him about this situation. He said, "What is his job?" So I think we should explore that too. But let's go to his quote first. We'll go to his exact quote. And if you haven't seen the video of it, you probably should. They kind of had the mic turned down at the beginning, so you didn't get the full clear sounding piece in the beginning. But the whole quote is this. If you haven't seen it, you can certainly watch it. It was offered through NBC 26 in Green Bay. So if you go on YouTube, type in NBC 26 Green Bay, you'll find it. Anyway, his whole quote from this meeting the other day, of course, was on a microphone. He says, I'm often reminded, though, of Ted Thompson, as most of you know, just a great general manager, passed away this past year, earlier this year, often talked about Aaron, that he's and it wasn't just Aaron, a lot of different players. He would say, he's a complicated fella. So I'll just say that. End quote. Now, clearly that wasn't scripted or really even that well planned out in advance, or it would have been a hell of a lot smoother than that, like getting to your complicated fella, I'll just leave it at that punchline at the end, right? I mean, he had to stumble around all that. And I know all about stumbling around your phrases and what you're talking about, but I'm just going off the cuff most of the time. This guy was at an event in front of people associated with the Packers, right? It was a shareholders meeting or whatever. He's at an event, planned speaking opportunity where you are at the podium in front of a microphone. Are you going to plan what the hell you're going to say or what? Come on. That's the leader of your multi-billion dollar organization for real? Sorry. That's just a side note. Just in reference of, oh my God, I think I could have done a better job than that. Simply off the cuff at getting to my point. But anyway, on top of that, saying this at this time, WTF. WTF, Mark Murphy. WTF. What are you doing? What are you thinking? Why? 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 It's clearly not following things you said before, that you're trying to get Aaron back to the team, that you guys are trying to, you want him back on the team. He's so important. You were committed to him. Hey, Bernard, we're committed to him now this season and for the future. Things the team has said recently, making that quote and that statement clearly isn't helping that situation, right? No. It's also clearly not in line with what you said. I'm not a fan of Mark Murphy, man. But he did that himself. It had nothing to do with anything else other than his conduct and what he's done and said as the Packers president and CEO. But also with him, we'll get to comments. You got comments, I'm going to follow, make it into a chat here. I was just giving myself something to talk about until some people came in and started throwing some things in the comments section. But to complete this thing on Murphy, the other part is that he also, it's not going along with his previous statement, which said the less both sides say publicly, the better. Right after he, responding to something in his monthly mailbag, brought up that it's dividing, this Aaron Rodgers situation is dividing the fan base. Unprompted by the guy's comment as well. So he does that, then says it's best that no one talks about it publicly. The less said publicly, the better. Then says this publicly. What? Mark Murphy. Now, some people, hey, Zero, how you doing? He wishes that he had the same swag as Jerry. Yeah, he does. I think Murphy's ego is like this big. It can't even fit on the screen. That's what I think. And I think he's running the team with a heavy hand, which doesn't jive with the Packer family thing they talk about all the time. It doesn't jive with how Brian Gutekunst keeps saying, we want, it's about the person. We want good people. We really love the people we have here on the team. Matt LaFleur, they talk about them being such a good locker room, and it has been a good locker room, all those things. So to me, it seems like the football operation is a very different environment than what Mark Murphy wants the business of the Green Bay Packers to be and the way he wants to run it. And that's fine as long as those two things are separated, but they aren't anymore. They are not anymore. Once they restructured after they got rid of Mike McCarthy, hired Brian Gutekunst, and hired Matt LaFleur again. If you recall, I'm going to give you the pyramid again for like the third, fourth show in a row. Mark Murphy said, the head coach reports to me. The GM reports to me. I am the top. Everyone reports to me. I'm more involved in football decisions. Me, CEO, president, Mark Murphy. I am more in charge of all things, including the football. Maybe Mark Murphy should just get the hell away from the football operations. If he wants to add on to Lambeau Field and he wants to make a sledding hill and he wants to help the Packers make money out of revitalizing the Titletown district, great. Make the organization a whole bunch of money, but stay the hell away from the team, the players, the football operations. Just get out. Don't even comment on it. You are not the owner. And right now what you're doing is detrimental to the team. Because no one can view, here, I'm going to pull up something for you. Because some people after the comment were like, oh, that's not that big of a deal. It's not really that. I mean, I guess you could take offense to the comment or take it badly, but it's really, not like that. I wouldn't do that. Or some people were certainly downplaying his comment. And I was like, well, let's just take a look. Because remember, I told you guys before, another show, that words have meaning, right? They have actual meaning. Words. You say a word, it means something. It is defined. So let's look up the word complicated here. Complicated. Two definitions. Consisting of parts intricately combined, which is more for like a recipe or machinery. Or the other form of complicated, which would apply to Mark Murphy's comment, which then he attributes to Ted Thompson, who is no longer here to say whether he said that or not said that. That's another really annoying part and really in bad taste part to that whole comment as well, that he attributes it to Ted Thompson, the late GM, who isn't even here anymore, isn't even on this earth to say whether he said that or not. No one's slamming Murphy for that, but they should be. Anyway, difficult to analyze, understand, or explain. First of all, difficult, negative. And when you put it to difficult to analyze, difficult to explain, in no way is that not, I'm going to say a double negative here. In no way is that anything but a negative connotation or negative words to use to describe a person. In no way, especially when Mark Murphy's saying it coming out of his mouth. Goodness gracious. What did you guys think of it? What did you think of hearing it? Do you think, oh, no big deal? A big deal? Annoyed that there's more people jumping on Packers news again? We got to hear more crap about it. I'll follow up here. Bernard doesn't think Rodgers is a crybaby. I don't either. Now, Rodgers had some stuff to say, not specifically about all this, and it was in his snarky, kind of joking, sarcastic way. So some people are running with that and taking it in a context. Other people are thinking it's kind of funny. I don't know, whatever. Zero says, I don't mind Murphy speaking his mind, but don't be a hypocrite. Yeah, exactly. Like, come on. Nagler says, carry the G. I know he always defaults to that. He always defaults to that when he wants to, when it's a situation that is against Rodgers, then he's just like, carry the G. It's about the team, right? Carry the G. But then he'll get whipped up about certain guys. I don't know. It's fine. We all have that with our analyzation of the team, and we all get connected to certain players more than others. And to me, it is about the players and the team too, but I don't understand how you can like a team and not be connected to certain players, or at least a number of the players, and become fans of them. And I also understand it's a business, but when those players, when things happen to them, when they're let go, when they're gone, when you have situations like this where it appears the organization has, Bernard says Mark needs to shut up. Yeah, he needs to shut up. He should take his own advice. Remember what I said? If he said, don't be the problem to Rodgers, he should have been looking in the mirror. Should have said that to himself. Because right now it feels like he's the biggest problem, because James Jones said it. It wasn't about the GM. We know Aaron Rodgers said it. I love my teammates, my coaches, the fans. So there's only one person left, Mark Murphy. And then Murphy says this stuff. So maybe it's retaliation by him because he is a hothead. I mean, there's no way. The stories were there. It was reported by multiple people that in 2018, at the end of the Arizona game, Murphy stormed out of the press box and down to the locker room and fired Mike McCarthy right there. Like, told him he was fired, and yelled and made a big stink and did all this stuff. Now, you can say what you want. Maybe you wanted McCarthy fired. I think we're all ready to try something different. But like I said before, the guy was your coach for 13 years. Could at least let him finish the season. It wasn't going to hurt you. And it would have at least showed him a little bit of respect for his time and service. But Mark Murphy acted rashly. And in the process of doing some of this stuff, at least be smooth and funny about it if you're going to go for it. But he's bumbly and stumbly and rambles on and does stuff. Like, he's way worse than Ben and me with rambling on. Come on. And that guy's the CEO of the Packers. What? I don't get it. All right. Anyway, again, no other way to take that than a very, than a big jab at Rodgers. So whatever. So it's definitely not helping the situation, right? So then you have to ask yourself, what is Mark Murphy's plan? And when I was going on about this, I'm like, is Murphy, because some people have said, oh, okay, here's the other scenario, right? What do you guys think about this? Yep, Ty Dunn doesn't like Rodgers either. He was way too blissful in putting that story out, which again, the Tyler Dunn story, where did all of that come from? Where did all that insider information come from? Right? I told you about the Murphy comment. I was supposedly in a private phone call between him and Rodgers didn't tell Tyler Dunn that. I mean, has Mark Murphy been in my mind sabotaging the team, the relationship, all kinds of things in the last couple of years? Has he been doing that? And he comes across as this, I'm this goofy guy, Mark Murphy, and I try to be funny and I'm really awkward socially. And he is really awkward. Do you guys also remember when they introduced Matt LaFleur as the head coach? I watched the press conference. If you didn't see the whole thing, Mark Murphy's introduction was ridiculous. It was like he was trying to be funny. He was talking way too much when all the media were there to not hear him talk, to hear Matt LaFleur. They wanted to hear this new coach. And Mark Murphy went on for like 20 minutes, 15 minutes talking and talking and talking. And I'm just like, dude, shut up. Nobody wants to hear from you. They want to hear about Matt LaFleur, just like I do. Who is this guy? And somehow he tried to make that about himself too. So that's why I'm thinking ego. And on top of it, I think he's also wants it his way or the highway, which doesn't really jive with the way LaFleur is trying to do things. And I also think the way Gutekunst is trying to do things. So I got major concerns about this, and not just because of Aaron Rodgers' situation. Okay. We know. Okay. Okay. I've said it many times for a while now, but I think this cements it even more that Aaron Rodgers will not take another snap for the Packers again. Now, there are other people that still think there's an opportunity. Some former players say, okay, Rodgers will put all this stuff aside from the front office, steer clear of them, but come back for his teammates to not let them down, to go one more run at it this year with guys like Devontae Adams, Tunyon, Aaron Jones, bunch of the offensive line, bunch of the guys in the team he's really connected to. Like, he's not going to let them down. That's what we'll hear. Rick says sabotage is probably overstating it, more like butting heads that turn into a power struggle or showdown with AR over several years. I mean, yeah, okay. To me, it's inadvertent, unintentional sabotage. Like, I think he's been doing damage to the operation of the Green Bay Packers, which to me is sabotage, but maybe not purposeful. Maybe it's just his way. I don't know. It does appear, though, it's my way or the highway with this guy, and that there's not collaboration. And then that's also why they restructured the power structure. Murphy at the top. I don't know, guys. Here's the concern, right? Oh, well, let me finish on the Rodgers thing. Sorry, my brain's jumping around. So with the Rodgers thing, the other more, so I could see that with, the draw from the coaches and players and wanting to give them one more good year for their sakes and for his sake to try to win a Super Bowl. Okay, maybe he sets all the other stuff aside and does that. But I still don't think it's very likely. The other theory here, which if this is really the case, then Murphy is kind of like a mad genius, I guess. Although I would just use the mad part with him and I wouldn't use the genius part if I was thinking about it and talking about it. But here's the scenario. Some people have said, okay, perhaps is Mark Murphy saying stuff like this to make Aaron Rodgers so mad that he's thinking he's going to come back to the players, to the Packers, to, spite Murphy, because now it appears Murphy doesn't want him back, because otherwise why would he be saying stuff like this? So it appears Murphy doesn't want him back. And maybe that's his play. Maybe he's like, look, we tried to get Aaron back. He's not coming back when we're catering to him. So maybe I'll make him think we don't want him back. And then he'll come back to spite us and I'll trick him into coming back. And that's some serious head games there if he's trying to play. Now, do I think Rodgers is too smart to fall for that? Yes, I do. Do I think he would be mad? Yes. By these comments? Sure. But I think he's too smart to fall for that trick if that's really what's going on here. I don't know. I don't know. But either way, to me, Mark Murphy is an idiot. Straight up. Straight up. That's what I thought. But then Nick's a smart tool, man. I'm telling you guys. So I said something to Nick. I was having this exchange with him. I said, is Mark Murphy a mad genius or an idiot? And I thought he would answer an idiot right away. But instead, he said, we will find out this year. And I said, come on, man. You know the answer. And Nico replied with this question. He said, is his job to win championships or to make the Packers more money? To which I said, okay. Yeah, it's all about the money, right? So if his job, let's just think about that, right? If Mark Murphy's job is to make the Packers more money, granted, a successful football team is a big part of that because that is what you and I, fans of the team and love football, that's what we think of as the Green Bay Packers. But there's a whole lot more to the Green Bay Packers, whole lot more. And it just keeps building and building, growing around the stadium. And Mark Murphy has been a big part of that, right? And that's all revenue generation. Great. Lambeau's a destination where we try to get people to come year round. All those things never happened before. Okay. So in this situation with Rodgers, if it's not, he's just mad and retaliating as a hothead. If it's not that one, if it's not serious mind games with Rodgers to try to get him to come back because he makes him think that they don't want him back, so then he's going to come back to spite them. If it's not that, is it that Mark Murphy says, well, you know what? He doesn't want to play, so let's just make sure he stays away and we'll take all his money back. We'll get that money back from him. We don't care. And on top of it, we will make ourselves, look like we've exhausted all these options with Aaron and all this stuff. And now we're moving on as a team and organization. And is there an angle there that helps make the Packers more money? He's already kind of laid the groundwork with saying this Aaron Rodgers situation has divided the fan base. Rodgers comes out, says some snarky stuff. Okay, people that don't like him already jump on board of that. Is there a way that by keeping Aaron Rodgers away, it helps the Green Bay Packers organization make more money in the long run? I mean, obviously, if Jordan Love turns out to be good and has a good first season, then yes, for sure. But I don't know. Zero says Murphy is used to people bowing to him. A-Rod isn't having it. I mean, yeah, I'm 100%. I'm 100% on that. It's really weird. I mean, I never thought, like, when they hired Mark Murphy, I was like, who is this guy? He seemed like a very laid back, simple guy. Uncomplicated person. That's what he seemed like. And now, I don't know if the ego was always there, if it just kind of grew with, maybe it was some of the successes with, the revenue generation the Packers as an organization had with all the things that got built up around there and the business deals that he helped pull off for the Green Bay Packers. Maybe that just grew and grew this ego, and all of a sudden he's just a egomaniac. And then when the football went south for a couple of years, he's like, I got to take control of that too. So maybe he wasn't always like that. And maybe he turned into that. And now he thinks he needs to run everything. Ben says, I think Murphy is just an idiot. It's that simple. He's not a complicated fellow. Well, that's what I used to think, Ben. But now I don't know. He's the type of idiot, Zero says, that doesn't know how to handle mistakes. That is true. And that he and Gutekunst, great point, Zero, He and Gutekunst both do not like to accept or take responsibility for their errors. Double Doink, what do you say? Hey, I think they want to save the AR money too. The mistakes they're making are too obvious now. Yeah, I agree. I mean, clearly, the guy knew a microphone was in front of him. He knew what he was trying to say, although he said it very uneloquently and not very good flow with it. I don't know. It's just so messy and ugly. I just wish, at this point, I wish they'd trade Rodgers and then get rid of Murphy as well. You can't trade him, but maybe you can just dump him. I don't know. That takes the board, though. Again, there's not an owner to can him. So it would take the full board to vote on it. And I think a majority vote. I don't know if it's got to be a unanimous vote from the board or it has to be a majority vote from the board. I'm not sure how they remove a president. It hasn't really happened before for the Packers, at least not in quite some time. I mean, Bob Harlan was there forever and did a number of good things. And then this guy came in. Mom says, hey, Mom, Ben Roethlisberger said the Steelers offense is going to be different this year. Their coach said whatever Ben wants, Ben is going to get. Sounds like all these QBs want to have what Brady has. And that's probably true from their perspective, I'm sure. Of course. Tom Brady's kind of started to break some ground. And football is kind of the last sport to start to relinquish a little bit more control to their players. And they've been hanging on. A lot of the football business people and operations people have said, no. We understand the NBA is like that. Players have a lot of power. We understand other leagues, players have a lot of power. We are clinging to this. We're the ones in charge. We're the power. But without the football players and the stars in this league, they don't make half the money they get. So they're starting to figure out that some of these players have some power and some of these players are finally testing that power a little bit. And Rodgers is now one of them, but mostly on principle that he just doesn't. I think it's a complete thing with Murphy. He just is not down with the way that guy operates, doesn't want to be working under an organization that guy is in charge of anymore. It's not about the team. It's not about the football. But Murphy has made himself the head of the football too. And that's where the problem came in 2018. Zero says, is it possible to get rid of Murphy? I believe so, but it would take the board, the board of directors would have to bring that up, would have to vote him out. That's the only way. Doesn't matter what the shareholders say. Doesn't matter what anybody that owns a piece of stock says. It's up to the board if they want to get rid of Murphy. Rick says, if you got a QB who's been successful in the league for 10 plus years, they should have some sense of what works and what doesn't for them and their abilities, which is another point. And I'll say that too. Nico's a smart dude. Now I went to watch on Sunday. I went over to Nico's and we watched the Bucks play an awesome game 4. Unfortunately, they lost last night. They were right in it, but they played an awesome game 4. God dang it, last night. If you didn't see that, why did Chris Middleton, it's 105 to 107. Or it was 107 to 109 at the time, I think. Yeah, 107 to 109. Chris Middleton makes a great move, gets around Kevin Durant, and instead of just pulling up for the 8-foot shot, he tries a little cutesy pass to Giannis, fumbles it around, loses it, and then they lose the game. That was it. That was the chance. And I'm like, Chris Middleton, take that shot. You shook your guy. Take the shot, dude. Anyway, so now the Bucks are down 3-2, but a couple less mistakes, they could beat those guys. So we'll see. Anyway, back to Nico. He said, when I asked him about the Rodgers situation, I was like, what do you think, man? Like, where are you on this thing? And he just said, look, you look at all these other teams. You look at the Bears. How long have they been looking for a quarterback? You look at the Lions. Yeah, they had Stafford, fine. But Stafford was okay. He wasn't that great, and they didn't have that great of a team. You look at the Vikings. I mean, they paid a crap ton of money to get Kirk Cousins, and I like Kirk Cousins. I think he's a good quarterback, but he's not a guy that's going to get you over the top or make plays out of nothing when your team's in trouble. So Nico's point was, Could Jordan Love be good? Sure. But when you have a guy that you know is that great, you can't gamble with it like you did last time. When the Packers moved on from Favre, remember this, okay? Because a lot of people might bring that up. Well, they did it with Favre. They did it, right? He wasn't done playing, and but he was. He retired, okay? But also, they watched Aaron Rodgers in practice for 3 years tear it up. They knew what they had. They knew what he could do. They knew from the first practice. There were reports like first practice because he attacked practice. He went after it. He ran the scout team like a maniac, with Ruvel Martin and these like 6th, 7th, 8th wide receiver guys from the practice squad tearing it up against the Packers defense. So they knew they had an awesome guy. They are not saying that about Jordan Love, and they don't know that yet. They didn't even get a full offseason with him last year, all that weird COVID stuff. Then he had no experience because he was inactive every game, all that. So it's too early to say that at this point. But when you got that guy, and you also know he hasn't been talking about retirement, and you also know he wanted to stick around, it's just too big of a gamble to move on. And Nico really doesn't know if, the team could struggle. And then how long does it take you to find that next guy that's transcendent, that could be the quarterback you need to get past everybody else? Because the only teams that have won with a less than really good to great quarterback in a number of years, those teams have had awesome defenses, which the Packers do not have, and great special teams. Sometimes they didn't have dominant defense, but they had very good defense and great special teams and a good run game. The Packers are not there on special teams for sure. Hopefully they get better. And they're definitely not there on defense. Hopefully they get better. But those are two hopefullys, not, hey, we're there. So anyway, that was Nico's take. He's just concerned about being left in the dust for a while, or being the Lions, or being the Bears for decades. Mom says, I'm sure the shareholders would gladly get rid of Murphy. They can influence the board. They don't want the fans to rebel. Yep. Well, and that's why the Packers are playing this PR game here and expect more things to come out. And that's the thing, right? Especially if Rodgers didn't show up to camp. Expect more things to come out from sources, things leaked that put Rodgers in a negative light. So more of that fan base turns against him, and the Packers can kind of control the message and the narrative there in the fan base. And, other people will be like, team loyalists, carry the G. Okay. That's fine. If you want to, if that's your outlook, that's fine. I totally get it. Fan of the team? Great. I have a problem, though, when management is really screwing stuff up, and you still got to be a fan of that team, because that management ultimately is running everything. And I am not a fan of Mark Murphy. But right now, what it's coming down to is people are going to have to choose kind of between Mark Murphy and Aaron Rodgers. So take your pick. I know what my pick is. Unless I got rid of both of them, then start over. Trade Rodgers, get some value. Murphy, get him the heck out of here, please. And just find a nice, competent CEO person. Maybe hire a woman. That might be a nice, bold step for the Packers. Green and gold. Give me a woman CEO president. Let her run the show. Probably wouldn't walk in there with a heavy hand and try to dictate everything, let their ego get the best one. Women are smarter than men anyway, if you guys didn't realize that. Ben says a successful QB, successful 10 plus years already, holds a team hostage with a high salary. Now they want to dictate the roster, philosophy on the field. I say no way. I don't think it was philosophy on the field so much, Ben. But maybe some of the quarterbacks want a little bit more control. Not really dictating the roster. Maybe I think what it's been said is little more input or maybe even being listened to. But they didn't want to listen to Rodgers. They just shoved him away, told him that, his place on the team was quarterback. That was made clear to him. He did say that at one point. He's here to just play quarterback. So I don't know. Either way, it's a bad situation. And I see the only option as correcting things is to move Aaron Rodgers, and I sure as hell hope get rid of Mark Murphy. But unlikely that one will happen. And the Aaron Rodgers one is also unlikely to happen this year, as again, the Packers are probably not going to get any players that can help them this year. So from their perspective, they could just sit on it, call his bluff and sit on it all year. And if he wants to sit out the whole year, they'll get their money back and then they'll trade him next year when they get instant draft picks at that time. And of course, we've kind of all talked about that. The only reason they would trade him before then is, they got some impactful player in a trade offer to go along with picks, which could help them this year. Okay. And I would say definitely do that if you get another player that can help you now. The other reason would be to just, if people are so sick of it and they just wanted the situation to be done so they didn't have to deal with it or hear about it anymore. So that would be the other reason. But that's certainly not, from a business sense, as good of a reason. You can direct people's attention to the team you have now. Even if Rodgers wanted to make more noise or put more, statements out or whatever, which I don't think he would do a lot of that. I think he would just sit back and step away from football for the year. That's not a great reason for the Packers. But if they were able to get some, that's one of the reasons I want them to do it now, because I just don't want to deal with it anymore. But, they're the company, not me. But what would happen is, if they just hang out, it's no difference to them and they can get some of their money back. So what the heck? Yeah. Okay. Probably what they'll do. So I'm done talking about it, really, unless something big breaks or some big new thing happens or Mark Murphy says another dumb thing or whatever. I just have a hard time thinking he's a mad genius and trying to play this whole double reverse psychology game with Aaron Rodgers. That just seems pretty far-fetched to me. And if it is, if that's the whole play, I don't think Rodgers is dumb enough to fall for it. I really don't. So that's all I got for you. All right. Tonight I am trying to drink a Delta IPA F12.2. I was going to try to get their Black is Beautiful Black IPA they have going on right now, which is to let you know, I did interview the owner and founder of Delta Beer Lab. Give him a plug. In Madison, Wisconsin. Pio from Stevens Point originally, now lives in Madison. He's craft brewed all around the West Coast and Minneapolis, and then came back to Madison to create this place. Really cool dude. Right now they've got a special event coming up on Saturday on Juneteenth where they are selling their Black IPA, and they're doing it for like the next month or so. And all sales of that, they're donating to an organization fighting for social justice. So great people over there. I had a really good interview with them on the radio show. If you go to Devil Radio 927 and look up Let's Get Local, the latest program, go Pointer, says Rick. He's a former Pointer too. But anyway, good interview with Pio about everything they're doing over there at Delta Beer Lab, and why it's a really, really cool place, uniquely in Madison, Wisconsin, where you can drink beer from beakers. And Rick and I are going to do it. And test tubes. Yes. All right. Ben and I will be back Friday. Here's the deal. I'm going to let you all know Friday night, Bruce is going to be on with us. We're happy to have Bruce on, but Bruce needs some laughs, and so do the rest of us. I'm sick of talking about this crap, and most of us are sick of thinking about it. So Friday night, I've got it queued up. I've got a Best of Hafman Bros Volume 1. So it's certainly, there's plenty of things out there that I wasn't able to track down and put all in this first one. So I'll make more volumes in the future as I have time. But this is going to be Best of Hafen Bros Volume 1 Friday night. We're going to debut it. We're going to listen to it. We're going to relive some of the fun, goofy moments, things for us that we enjoyed. Hopefully you enjoyed. Maybe you saw all of them. Maybe some of them you didn't see. And actually, I guarantee there's a piece that most of you didn't see because it's from the hidden episode. The hidden episode that's been buried from Hafen Bros. There's a piece in there as well. So Friday night, we're going to watch pieces, talk about it, hopefully laugh about it, have some good laughs, have some fun, watch another section, comment on that. Bruce is going to be with us. And I told him I will give him, since he's not on tonight, I will give him the first 5 minutes of the show to say anything he wants about Murphy or Rogers. And then we're tabling that subject and we're just going to have fun and laugh at ourselves and hopefully say, gosh, that was really stupid of you, Jason. Or, yeah, Ben, that was pretty wild. And some of our other guests, like, they're usually pretty smart and say funny, witty stuff. But we just say something that rhymes with witty. And that's the way our stuff normally goes. Anyway, Friday night, Hafen Bros, join us. You won't want to miss it. Tell a friend, have them come too, because it's kind of some of our best moments so far. Peace out. Stay well. What the heck is Mark Murphy doing? I don't know. But we'll find out if he's a mad genius or just an idiot. We'll find out in the next couple months.